What's up guys, it's Nikki with a Farmhouse Full, and today's video is going to cover my 2020 to 2021 curriculum haul. What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Nikki Lynn. I'm a homeschooling mama of 8 kiddos. I've been homeschooling since my oldest was in kindergarten, so it's been a long while. So my children range from, one will be 18 this winter. He actually has already graduated. And then I have a 10th grader who is 15. I have a 8th grader who is almost 14. I have a 7th grader who just turned 12. I have a 5th grader who will be turning 10 very shortly. I have a 2nd grader who will be turning 8 very shortly. I have a 1st grader who is 6, and then I have another one that just runs around and terrorizes the house because he's just turned 4 and he is not quite school age yet. But this year I am teaching 6 of my kiddos. So like I said, my oldest is graduated, I've got 6 school age, and then I've got a little curtain crawler that runs around and keeps us all vividly entertained all year long. So if you guys are interested, I have past curriculum hauls that I will link down in the description of this video if you guys want to see different ages or stages, because I do these videos almost every year, and every year, just like now, I do them kind of late because we actually don't start school until the Tuesday after Labor Day. We've done that for a long time now. I like the way it works and we're sticking with it. So I just received my last box. I'm actually waiting on a few things that were back ordered from a company or two, and then I'll have everything. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this video. I will have all the resource links down below. Keep in mind, I do have partnerships with some of the companies that I'm going to talk about, and I will let you know in the description below whether or not that is a partnership video. But all of these opinions are my own. I'm not paid for my opinion. I solely do sponsorships with products only. So I do receive some of these products for free, but anything that I have a partnership with, any company that I have a partnership with, I have either used my own money to pay for it in the past, or have been willing to pay for it if they don't want to partner with me. Luckily, because of you guys and because of the audience I have, I get to get my hands on a lot of awesome stuff for free. So thank you guys. I'm gonna be reviewing some of that stuff with you. Some stuff is old, I've been using it for a long time, but there's some other stuff in there that is quite new, or even very new, at least to me this year. So I'm gonna start off by going through what we are doing together as a group, and then I will go through individual children. I will put the time-stamped grades down below, so if you want to listen to what we're doing as a group and then kind of skip to where your kids are. If you don't have any high schoolers, you can skip what I'm doing for high school, or if you want to speed along to the high schooler and skip the elementary. That way it's easy for you to kind of find your age group. If you want to listen to the whole video, I'm right there with you. But I've got kids at almost every single age and stage, so this is going to cover a lot. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is NOEO Science. Now, NOEO Science is totally new to us this year. I reached out to them after seeing their really awesome commercials on Instagram. I'm a sucker for good commercials, and they have good commercials. And it was a whole book approach to science, which is what I love. When my kids were little, this is how I taught them all the time. As they grew and I got more of them, I just didn't have the time to put the resources together and to gather them. And so I tended to switch over to a more structured curriculum. We've used my God's Design for Science in the past, but this year, after seeing some of these videos and looking at their site, I felt like this curriculum really hit our learning style. Whole books, the experiments are already ready to go. You guys know how I'm crazy about all the experiments and the parts and the pieces being together. So NOEO Science comes in a very simplified version here. You get the books, you get the instructor guides, and it's no nonsense. It's super, super simple. I was actually blown away by how simple the instructor guide is to this curriculum, because I get overwhelmed when the directions to the parents take me 2 hours to read through. It just, mama ain't got time for that right now in this stage of life. If you do and you have one kid and you love that kind of stuff, awesome. I do not. And what I do love about this is because you can add to it or you can take away from it as you want. These are whole books. There isn't a whole lot of gadgets and 1,000 pieces working at once. It's very simple, whole books, which is how my kids learn the best. Science and experiments, and then they have it all scheduled out for you so that it works throughout your school year. Now, each one of their courses, so they have Biology 1, Biology 2, Chemistry 1 and 2, Physics 1 and 2, and then I think they also have the third version on all of them, I wanna say. Not 100% sure about that. I got the level 2. I tend to teach to my 3rd through 6th graders. I try to aim the learning at that level, and my little kids listen in, and my older kids do their own stuff once they hit upper junior high to high school age. So my 7th, 8th, and 9th will be doing separate science, so I will talk about that in their individual studies, but as a group, my K through 6 sit together in science. Now, K through 3rd, I just expect them to listen in and kind of hang out, maybe color, do some activities with us, but my 3rd through 6 is what I really aim the teaching at, like I said. So I went with their level 2, and I got physics. So the, you have your student pages, and they have these reproducible on their site so you can print them off. So I have multiple kids doing this, so I will be printing them off probably. And they also have their instructor guides. Now their instructor guides are set up for 4 days. We are going to do all 4 days, but in the past we've done science on 2 days. What you would just do is just double up, or it would take you twice as long. But I'm talking super, super simple instructions, you guys. It's laid out for you. There's not a ton for parents to read, and they all focus around good books. Now, some of the books that came with this, I'm familiar with, and I have already fallen in love with them. So the Usborne or Usborne, or however you want to say that, books I love. We have so many of these laying around our house. So a couple of those are the Usborne books. We got another little gizmos and gadgets books that came with it, and then the Archimedes Door of Science. And I've read this to my kids, but I haven't read it to the little kids who will be sitting in on this. So I'm excited to reread that one. So we got physics, and we also got biology. Now, the reason I got 2 of them, because these are year-long courses, is the fact that I want to split it up. So my kids like learning about more than one thing. I actually thought about getting all 3 of them, but I thought, well, I'll just start with 2, see how it goes, and then next year I'll add in the 3rd, which would be chemistry. So I did physics and biology, and what I'm planning on doing is using physics or biology, I haven't decided which one, for the first half of the year, and then switch over to the other one, the second half of the year, and then flip-flop them for next year. So next year we'll be studying also biology and physics, but we will be doing the ending of both those books, just to change it up. Not keep it, you know, all biology one year and all physics the next, but do biology physics, and then again do biology physics. So that's how I am planning on using them. I'm really excited about this. I will let you guys know probably midway through the year how everything's working out, since this is new, but it really, as I've looked it over, it looks right on par for how I love to teach science. The cool thing about NOEO Science too is not only do they give you the books, all of your experiments and everything to do them, except, you know, your common household items, are individually wrapped. So this is a packet for biology 2. I'm gonna open it up. And then each of your experiments is in its own separate pack. So there's no sorting through things. There's no trying to figure out, you know, where it's at. They each are just grab and go, saving me time. So biology came with it, so did physics. Biology also came with this, which I've never seen before, but this is amazing. We've already tried it out. It is a 100 to 250 times high power pocket microscope. It also has a phone clip, so you can actually hook it to your phone and take photos of whatever you're looking at. I thought this would be really awesome to be able to take out to the pond and examine pond water and take with us when we do nature walks, because I'm not gonna be taking my, you know, giant $300, you know, table microscope with us. But this, I can throw this in my purse. I have a camera, we can zoom in on the camera, we can take pictures. I didn't expect much from this, and when we tried it out, I was blown away. So this comes with the biology 2 set, and I'm in love with just this piece, and I know the whole curriculum is going to be amazing. So the second group study subject that I have for everyone that learns together is history. So history is actually kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. I do expect my older kids to do a little bit more, and each grade has their own student explorer, which I will get to when I do their individual studies. But we use The Good and the Beautiful. We actually switched to The Good and the Beautiful history last year. I fell in love with it. We did history 1. So this year, as you probably guessed, we are doing history 2. So this is a really easy grab and go curriculum that has, so, I mean, it's The way that history is laid out in this, I really love it. I also like the fact that every year you are studying every time period from ancient times to modern day times. You just hit on different things. So the way that we've studied it in the past, we did ancient, and then we did medieval, and then we did modern, and then we did postmodern. And the problem with that is that we didn't, so, you know, when we were doing what's happening really recently in history, we hadn't talked about ancients in 3 years, and that's a long way to go, especially with some of the younger kids. So this has 4 units. That's how they're divided up. We go by quarters. So the first quarter we are in ancients, the second quarter we are on Middle Ages, the third quarter we are in modern, and then the fourth quarter we are in postmodern. And I'm not sure if that's how what they're actually called in this, but you can kind of get the idea of what I'm speaking about. So this also comes with read alouds, and I got the read alouds that go with it, which I will get into when I hit the read aloud of what we're using for our kids. But it came with this. It also came with the maps and images book. So this is just a book that occasionally you will refer to as you are reading, that has maps and pictures, because this text is black and white text. They're both spiral bound for your convenience, and I am planning on reusing these and recycling these, because every 4 years you will basically be doing the whole thing over, but your kids will be a little bit older, and what they are going to be retaining and picking up is going to be a little bit different, especially since they each have a separate student explorer. Another part that came with this history for year 2 is timeline. So this did not come with year 1. Year 1 came with the Keys of History game, which my kids actually really loved. And I used to hand out like chocolate chips or a brownie in a mug for the winner of that team. So we will be playing that as review this year still. So we'll be using some aspects of history year 1, but obviously not all of them. So this one came with a timeline instead, and the little stickers that go along with it. So again, The Good and the Beautiful, they make recommendations for the read alouds that you will be reading to your family, and you can change those if you want. I usually stick to the books that they've recommended, and so far we've really loved all the books that they've sent with us. So I have a stack of books here. Some of these correlate with our history, others are just other books that we either didn't get to read aloud last year, or just ones that I wanted to add in. So the first one is A Penny's Worth of Character. This is a book that The Good and the Beautiful sent me. I have not read this yet, but it looks like a short, quick read, which will be nice. Lady Cake Farms, this is another Good and the Beautiful book. A lot of these are Good and the Beautiful books. They have a book list that I want to say is free, or if it's not free, it's very, very cheap. I downloaded it. It's a PDF, and it has the books leveled out, of which you can either go to the library or get. Some of the older ones are not available in print, but the Good and the Beautiful library does have copies of them. So a lot of these I got there. Zeke and the Fisher Cat, this is another Good and the Beautiful book. Race for the Prairie, again, The Good and the Beautiful book. Cherokee Run, same thing. Prudy at Meadow Farms. This is a Good and the Beautiful book. Archimedes and the Door of Science. Of course, this is going to be correlating with our science, but I had actually already planned on reading it anyway. The Golden Hawks of Genghis Khan. I think this is actually one that correlates with our history, as does Falcon the Red, or the Falcon of Eric the Red. And these are both the Good and the Beautiful books as well. Now this one is not a Good and the Beautiful book. I didn't get this from the Good and the Beautiful. It's Viking Adventure, but I think this one's actually on their reading list. This was one I want to believe that I got from a Sunlight curriculum years ago. So that's one. And then Anna's Fight for Hope. And while this didn't come from the Good and the Beautiful, this was one of the read aloud suggestions that they had for history year 2. So that's one I've had on my shelves for a little while, that some of my older kids have read when they were younger, and I'm going to use it as a read aloud this year. All of these books I will link down below, so if you guys want to check those out. Some of them, like I said, are the Good and the Beautiful library. Others can be found just on Amazon. All right, guys, let's chat individual subjects. So I'm gonna start with my oldest and move down to my youngest, and I will put them time stamped down below if you guys wanna skip to a certain grade. But I'm gonna start with Maddie. Maddie is my 10th grader this year, so I only have one high schooler this year because my oldest has graduated. So I have a 10th grader, I will have 2 high schoolers next year, but for this year, only 1 high schooler. I'm gonna go through what I've chosen for her individual subjects. All right, so the first individual subject that I wanna talk to you guys about is teaching textbooks. You guys know we have used and loved this curriculum for years now, and finally this year I reached out to see if they wanted to partner with me, And I got the amazing news that number one, they wanted to, and number two, they are coming out with a mobile friendly Teaching Textbooks 4.0, which I literally, like a nerd in my car, was like, yes, because I've always wanted to have an app on my phone so I could check my kids' scores and they could get on from a tablet or a device in case we were like in the car or going somewhere. So this takes their subscription program to the next level. So you guys know that I ditched the CDs, probably 2 years ago for teaching textbooks. We had always used the CDs, but as we were buying new computers, they lacked CD-ROM drives. As I had more kids into those teaching textbook grades, they were swapping CDs out and I was afraid they were gonna get broken or lost. So we switched to a subscription. The cool thing about the subscription is that you can put your child on any computer, they can log in, and you don't have to keep removing CDs or moving CDs or downloading it onto other devices. It is simply log on and go. I also like their parent portal where I can check their work, see what their grade point average is, and they've added a lot of really cool features to the new 4.0, and it will be out very, very soon. I will be doing a separate video on that to show you how we are liking the transition from the older teaching textbooks into the 4.0 subscription. And I think I'm gonna like it because that mobile app, guys, that's gonna help me quite a bit. So all of my kids, 3rd grade and up, use teaching textbooks, and I absolutely love it because it has streamlined my math. And like I said, it also grades it for us. So that makes it really easy. It puts a percentage on there. Doing report cards is really easy if you guys do that for your older kids. And this year, Maddie will be in teaching textbooks Geometry 1. So if you guys wanna try out teaching textbooks, they have a free trial. Now, what's really cool about the free trial is that you don't have to put any payment information. How many times have you guys put in payment information on something, then wanted to cancel it and then forgot about it and then you ended up paying for it and then you're like, oh, I'll get it to it next month because I already paid for it this month. And then next month you ended up paying for it. Well, their free trial is actually free. You don't have to put in any payment information unless you want to buy it. And they also have a really awesome thing. If you have more than a couple kids that are using it, like me, they have a large family deal that's only $199 for the entire year, which for as many kids as I have is an absolute steal. So that is what we've been using since the very get-go. We do their $199 large family plan. It sounds like a cellular contract. It's not. It's teaching textbooks for math. But it's $199. It covers all of my kids who are taking math, 3rd grade and up, and it is money well spent. For Spanish this year, you guys, I have been using Rosetta Stone in the past, and while I absolutely love Rosetta Stone, I am actually adding in a, I guess more of a traditional Spanish, and just so that she gets the written Spanish as well as the spoken Spanish on both sides. And I decided to go with Alpha Omega Life Packs. So I've never used Alpha Omega. I like the idea of the workbooks because we actually did that for The Good and the Beautiful. She does it for language arts. It's broken up into 10 unit workbooks, and that worked really well for us. So I thought this was kind of similar to that. And I went with their Spanish 1 book. I'll let you know how I like this as the year rolls on. I've never used, like I said, Alpha Omega or the Life Pack before, but I'm excited to try it and hopefully be able to dive a little bit deeper in Spanish. She will still be using Rosetta Stone. I still absolutely love that and recommend it. I just wanted her to have the written aspect of it as well as the spoken and oral aspect of it. And I think the hybrid of the two is a really great way to just reinforce everything because you will speak it and you will write it. So being able to have both is key, I think, to a good understanding of it. So for science, I just dropped half my books on the floor. All right, so for science, my daughter does not sit in with us. So once you are in 7th grade, you are taken off on your own and you start science. Now, my general lineup is Apologia Biology in sophomore year, but she did biology with her brother so that it would just be easier when he was in high school. So she's already done biology and has passed with flying colors. So she really didn't have a science this year. So I decided to do something a little bit different and just do some cool science-y electives. Science-y electives, that's a new term. If you guys hear my chair, it's my chair squeaking. It's like the squeakiest chair known to man. I need to oil it. Every time I go to make a video, I think about that and never do it. Anyway, For her science, we decided to go with the Life Pack. Again, I'm gonna try Alpha Omega. I thought this would be a easy way to do it. It's already planned out. It is, from what I understand, student-led, so it's nice for the older kids that can kind of go at their own pace and teach themselves. I decided to go with anthropology half a semester and then a semester of astronomy. So like I said, all of our kids are together for history, but each child has their own student explorer. So this is Maddie's student explorer that I have just printed out on our laser printer and bound with my Pro Click binder. If you guys are not familiar with the Pro Click binder, I've been using this since 2012. Absolutely love this thing. I don't think that I could do homeschool without it. So basically it is a binding machine, but the binding spines unclick like this. So you can add pages, or if you mess up like I do because I don't proofread anything, you can change them out, which is great. So I just print these out on my home computer. So if you are using the Good and the Beautiful History, they have downloadable student explorers, and they go, I think, 1st through 3rd, 4th through 6th, 7th through 9th, and 10th through 12th. I may be wrong on that, but I think I'm right. Anyway, she's in 10th grade, so she's got the 10th through 12th, and she is going to be doing this. So basically what this is it goes along with our history, and I will read the lesson, and then they do the assignments based on their grade level in the student explorers. What I tend to do with these is I will print them off, and then a lot of the assignments, or not a lot of them, some of the assignments require them to write things out in their student notebook, and I like to have everything just in the same spot. So what I do is I will usually print out some lined paper. So this is the end of her student explorer right here. The next page is just blank paper. I will put a little tab right here, and she will use the back of this as her student notebook to be able to write any papers or notes or definitions that she needs to do for assignments right there in her book with her. All right, for language arts, we are using the Good and the Beautiful again. You guys, this is our 3rd year. I wanna say it's our 3rd year. I think it's our 3rd year using the Good and the Beautiful. Last year was the first year that I used their high school, and I absolutely loved it. So like I said before, there are broken up into 10 unit books. And so each unit, your child will actually self-pace through. So this is a great way to get your children on their own time management. I allow about 3 weeks per unit because we do 32 weeks. There's 10 booklets, so she's done in about 30 weeks. And then if we have any off weeks, we have extra 2 weeks if she needs a little bit of catch up. Or unit 10 is usually a bigger unit because it's a review of all the other units, and she usually needs a little bit more time on it. Plus the essay in that is usually quite a bit bigger. At least it was in year 1. So this is 10 workbooks, but absolutely love these. These also have integrated readers. So I will go through the readers. All of these came from the Good and the Beautiful because they are correlated with the Good and the Beautiful, and they just send you a book pack with it as well. So one book that she actually didn't get through last year, and it was an important one that I wanted her to read, was Up from Slavery. She didn't end up reading this in full, so I'm going to have her go back and read through this. So this is the book from Booker T. Washington, Up from Slavery, and I thought it would be a really, really great read for her since she didn't get to it last year. So that's not one that goes along with her this year's language arts. That went along with last year's language arts, but she didn't have time to really relish in that book. So she's gonna reread that this year. The books that did come with the curriculum that she will be reading this year are Harriet, the Moses of Her People. And again, all of these are from the Good and Beautiful. Men of Iron, Sagebrush Surgeon, A Girl of Limberlost, and the Christoph von Schmid collection. Not sure what this is. I'm not sure if this is an actual book or collection of stories. This is a collection of stories. Makes sense. It sounds like it's a collection of stories. So there's the books that she's going to be reading this year with her language arts curriculum. And then it also comes with a writing guide, and that I don't have up here right now because it's already down there. She used it last year as well. And it also has memorization cards. Now, her memorization cards are a little bit bigger. They fit in a half sheet of paper binder. I don't know what size this is, but the binder that we'd use for half sheets of paper. If you guys are familiar, this actually is my old war journal or prayer journal. I have a video I'll link up here if you want to see that one. But anyway, I just 3-hole punch them and put them in here so that she could use this. All right, so moving on to my 8th grader, Michael. He is going to be doing teaching textbooks for math. And again, if you guys want a free trial for that, click the link in the description below, or you can go to teachingtextbooks.com. He will be using pre-algebra. Oh my goodness, yes, pre-algebra this year. Wow. Time flies, right? So he will be doing pre-algebra and teaching textbooks. For science, he's going to be using Apologia, exploring creation with physical science. Now, for some reason, and I don't exactly remember why, but I'm sure there was good logic behind it. Last year, I decided to divide this up. I know what it was. I think most of my kids had 3 days worth of science and I wanted him to be on the same schedule. So I split this up so he would be doing half of the year last year and then the rest of it this year. Well, now we are all doing science 4 days a week to 5 days a week. So I'm going to just be splitting his assignments up so he goes through a little bit slower, but still works on it on a daily basis. So he is going to be using his books that he's already been using. I usually always buy the notebooks because it's just worth my money to spend the extra, I don't know, $30 on the notebooks. I get this at christianbook.com. They carry Apologia stuff. So he has the textbook, the workbook, and then I also bought the experiment pack that went with it because for me, it's just easy to have all the stuff that has all the stuff for the experiments in it, handy and ready to go. So he will be continuing this. He will be working from module 9 to module 16, I believe, and then he will be done with this for the year. Michael will also be joining us for history, as will all the rest of my kids, and he has his own Student Explorer. Gotta love how I color code. It's not real fancy, but it does the job. So Michael's Student Explorer is for grades 7 through 9 since he is in 8th grade. So same thing goes with his. I have the printouts and then the blank paper in the back so that he can do any work that he needs to be done in his history notebook right in the same Student Explorer. For his language arts, you guys probably guessed it, he's doing the Good and the Beautiful because all of my kids are doing the Good and the Beautiful for language arts. So he is in level 6. Now, the reason he's in level 6, normally he would be in level 7 at this point, but I pulled him in with a sister of his who is only a grade younger than him. And she was a little bit more of a speedy reader. He was a little bit more of a slower reader, so it really worked to line them up. So he will be doing level 6. Then he will be switching over to high school next year. Keep in mind the levels for the Good and the Beautiful don't necessarily correlate with the grades. Usually my kids are one level behind their grade. That way they end in 8th grade on level 7 and then they go directly into high school with high school 1 because their levels for pre-high school only go up to level 7. So usually, for instance, my 3rd grader is in level 2. My 7th grader would be in level 6. He is in 8th grade, but like I said, I pulled him in with his sister, which is why they are using the same thing. So this is the level 6 for the Good and Beautiful. It is only one book. Usually for the lower grades, they are split into 2, but this is just one book. It does come with the leveled reader as well as the memorization cards, which we already have many sets of, so I didn't need any more of those. But he will be using the same memory cards as he's been using for the last couple years. The only thing I did change up this year is, you guys know that I have my own handwriting curriculum and I've been using that for years. Basically, I teach handwriting without using a curriculum. And I've done that for 6 years probably or better. I've taught you guys how to do it. If you guys want to take that course, I will link it down below. It just basically shows you how to teach handwriting to all of your kids all at the same time without any consumable curriculum. But like I said, I'm partnering with the Good and the Beautiful, and I decided I was going to change it up this year because I wanted handwriting to be something that I didn't need to sit in with all of my kids while they were doing. I thought it would be a great way for them to just do this as part of their independent work, since I've got a lot of little kids this year that I'm going to be teaching phonics and math to. So I decided to go ahead and purchase their handwriting books for my older kids that don't need my help with handwriting, that they can do this on their own. So he is in level 6. Basically, he doesn't need anything but practice with his handwriting, so it just slows him down and allows him to really focus in for a neater handwriting. Some of my kids have great handwriting, others not so much. So for those kids who are not in high school and do not have their readers integrated with their language arts, I pick out a handful of readers for them throughout the year as assigned readers based on their interests, their reading abilities, and also the value of the book. So I will go through Michael's book, since I think I only have one book that he's going to be reading here at the house. I will either be ordering these on Amazon or getting them through our local library. I tend to usually order them on Amazon because I'll probably have other kids that read them, and going to the library all the time for us, especially right now during this pandemic, is not going to be the funnest thing in the whole world. So the books that Michael has picked for him are Woodlawn, which is a football and faith book. He's really into football this year, so I thought that would be a great one for him. The Boy in the Striped Pajama, Code Talker, Shaken, Standing Strong, the Young Readers Edition. It's a Tim Tebow book. Again, he's really into football, so I thought it would be a great one for him. Fahrenheit 451, The Giver, and The Westing Game. So those are his readers that I will be having available to him. If he finishes his list, he is free to read whatever he'd like after that, but they are required to do SSR, which is sustained silent reading, for a certain number of minutes every single day, because reading is good for you. All right, moving on. Faith is in 7th grade. She's only a grade level below her brother, which is why I tied them in together with language arts. So just like her brother, she's gonna be doing level 6, the Good and the Beautiful language arts, same stuff as him, same reader, same everything. And since her readers aren't integrated into her program either, she has a stack of books. Most of them I can show you because I have most of them. And the few that I don't, I will be getting off Amazon. So the books that she has to read this year are Paint the Wind, Because of Winn-Dixie, Misty of, I have no idea how to say that next word, I don't know, Misty of something. I don't know how to say that second word. Misty of, I'm not even gonna try that because I'm gonna botch it like crazy. Misty of this. So I did a little research and found out you pronounce it Shinkatig or Shinkatig. The Toothpaste Millionaire, Hatchet, Island of the Blue Dolphins, and I think the only one that I don't have is The Witch of Blackbird Pond, but those are her books for this year. Just like her brother, she's gonna be practicing her handwriting using the Good and the Beautiful handwriting level 6. I've never used this before, so I will let you guys know how I like it, but I think it'd be a great practice for her. It's just something that she can do on her own during her independent time and spares me up a little bit of time so that I can work directly with the little kids. For science, this is the first year that Faith will actually be independent in her science. So she's going to be starting out with Apologia General Science. And like I said before, I go ahead and buy the notebook because I like having it. This one's a little bit different. This is not a hard copy of their textbook. So I don't know if they're switching to soft covers or not. I'm not sure how this is gonna hold up with multiple kids, but this is the first soft cover textbook I've gotten from Apologia. Again, these are from christianbook.com. That's where I usually purchase my Apologia stuff. So she will be doing the general science. I did not buy the experiment kit with this. I don't know if it actually has one. I'm gonna have to look into that. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to start searching down experiments for this and what I need for them. And also, just like her brother, she has a wonderfully color coordinated History Explorer, and hers is the same grades because she's in the same grade levels as him. This is for grades 7 through 9th, so she is a 7th grader, so she gets that book. Same thing as his, has the notebook in the front and the lined paper in the back. Also, I think I forgot to mention, but Faith is also doing teaching textbooks, and she is doing teaching textbooks 7. So moving on to the lower grades, my elementary grades, I have Georgia, who is in 5th grade this year. So I'm just gonna go through what she has based on how it's stacked right here by me. So the first thing is she will be doing teaching textbooks level 5. Everything below 8th grade just lines up with the number afterward. And you can take a placement test. You can start your kids higher or lower. I just run mine at grade level coming off Math UC is what we use in the beginning for kindergarten, 1st and 2nd. So coming off, let's see, that would be Math UC beta. Let's see, there's primer, alpha, beta. Then you would switch directly over to teaching textbooks 3. So she's in 5th grade, so she's doing teaching textbooks 5. And again, if you guys want a free trial on that, click the link in the description below, and you can do that for free without having to put payment information in. So Georgia's readers, she has a few more readers because she actually reads a little bit. She's one of my heavier readers like Maddie, and because the books that are for her level aren't as long, I did pick a few more. I am so sorry about this chair, you guys. It's about the most annoying thing in the whole world. Next time I'm gonna oil it for you guys. So the first book is Runaway Ralph. This has been a favorite of my kids when they start reading chapter books, and for some reason I skipped over having her read this. So this is one on her list. The House on Walinska Street, I think that's how you say it. That's been something that my younger kids have read as well. Ending in the Cupboard, awesome classic. Mary on Horseback. Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of NIMH. I read this as a read aloud to my kids years ago, so she doesn't remember it. I love this book. This is a great read aloud if you want a good read aloud for your younger and older kids alike. When I read the back cover, I'm like, I'm not gonna get into this because it's about rats. It's an awesomely cute little book. She has Vision of Beauty, which is the story of Sarah Breedlove Walker. I have her on a abridged version, obviously, of Little Women. This is the classic starts, and this is just a really, really short, sweet version of, and I'm talking short, I mean, it's very short, of Little Women. I thought this would be a good introduction to the classic. And then another one that I've read to my children as read alouds when they were about Georgia's age, but she has not experienced yet, is The Lemonade War. There's actually, I think this is a trilogy. I think it's got 3 books in the series, and we've got 1 extra, maybe we've got all of them. But I know that we have the sequel to this one, so if she wants to read the second one, it's there on the shelf waiting for her. So for Georgia, we are doing the Good and the Beautiful Language Arts course number, or level 4, and they were sold out of their 1 books. So what's cool about the Good and the Beautiful is that levels 1 through 5 are free downloads on their site. So I just simply had to go and download it and print it. Now it's not as pretty and it's not in color, and quite honestly, it probably cost me as much as what it was to buy the workbook, but I got it here. So they were amazing. I can't even imagine trying to keep up with all the COVID homeschoolers, but they're doing a great job. But this was one that I didn't know if I'd get in time, so I went ahead and printed out. I wanna say that I got a shipment notice on a few of them, so this may be one of the ones they're shipping me. I'll just use it for my next kid in line who does course level number 4. So these come with 2 books. They did have the second half of the set, but the first half they were out of. So I just went ahead and print this, bound it with my Pro Click binder. I will leave the link for the Pro Click down below. And she's doing level 4. The Good and the Beautiful also has some integrated books, and the books, they were actually out of stock, but luckily I had them on my shelves because they were pretty classic books. It's 20 and 10 and The Big Wave. She's also doing their level 4 handwriting. Again, this is something that she can do on her own independently. And then she has her very own, you guessed it, color-coded history book. Now she's doing the one for grades 4 through 6. These are called the Student Explorer. All right, so my next in line is Ezra, and he is in 2nd grade, and he has struggled a little bit with learning to read. He was a little bit late of a reader, and he's making leaps and bounds right now. So he's probably close to grade level now, which is one of the reasons I hold off and don't do grammar right away, because I really like them to have a good, strong foundation of reading before we start throwing grammar their way. But this year, he is going to be in the Good and the Beautiful level 1 language arts. I'm excited for him to get a little bit more use with spelling and writing and grammar than he has in the past. The Good and the Beautiful Language 1, I forgot to say, also comes with a leveled reader. So this is the level 1 reader, and it just contains a lot of stories that are on reading point for him that he'll be reading to me or alone in his spare time. So this also comes with a reader. Also for him, I like using these big highlight books just for extra activity pages or something to keep him busy while I'm working with his sister while he waits for me to get back to him. So he has the Big Fun First Grade book. Now he is in 2nd grade, but I like to do these 1 grade lower than what they are. That way they can do these independently and without me, and it's easy and fun. So Ezra also has a history student explorer since he is in 2nd grade, and these are for 1st through 3rd. Along with that reader, I've got some books from the Good and the Beautiful, and then just some random ones I've pulled from our collection of books to kind of help him get his feet wet in starting to do some SSR, which is sustained silent reading. So starting about 2nd or 3rd grade, I do expect the kids to sit down while the rest of us are doing reading and read. So I pulled some books. The Berenstain Bears are always favorites of mine. I mean, you can see how beat up these books are. These have been favorites of my kids. So I pulled a couple Berenstain Bear books. We got a couple new ones from the Good and the Beautiful. We got Blake the Brave, Ted and Tom and the Tall Peak, Jack and the Lost Maze, Jane and the King, And then again, we had some from our shelves. So this is a Dr. Seuss Step Into Reading book that we had on our shelves that has several books in it. We got another Berenstain Bears book and a big ball of string. So we've got several books, and we've got more than this, but these are the ones I just pulled to start with, because with kids learning to read, repetition can really, really help, because it helps them gain competency. It helps them gain confidence in what they're reading because they've seen it before. And so I will probably be sticking to a handful of books, reading them over and over again until we're ready to move on to another handful of books. So for math, for Ezra, since he's not yet in 3rd grade and is not able to do teaching textbooks on the computer, he is using Math UC. So this is how we start out in math. We start with Math UC primer, then we move to alpha, then we move to beta in 2nd grade. And so he will be doing beta this year. And I love these books because they are not full of crazy drawings. They are black and white. For my kids that have attention issues, and Ezra is definitely one of them, a lot of things on a page can just pull his attention away from what he's supposed to be doing. I also like that they work on one concept per week and then review at the end of the week, so that we are just focusing in on one new skill. And again, we are doing the Good and the Beautiful handwriting. Now I'm gonna be working with him using my handwriting curriculum, and I will link that down below, the way that I teach handwriting. But I thought this would be something that he can do, like I said, independently as well. This is another thing that they were out of stock on, so I did have to print this out. So I got the PDF. This is not a free PDF, but they are very reasonably priced. So you guys can grab, if they are out of stock on any of the handwriting books, you can print them out. And quite honestly, I thought my printer did a fairly decent job of printing it out. So this is his handwriting book that he will be using on his own when I am working with other kids. All right, so my next youngest is Cora. She is in 1st grade, although she's a very young 1st grader, as she just turned 6. So some of hers I kind of go float back and forth from kindergarten to 1st grade. So we're gonna go through what she has on her curriculum. So like I said before, kindergarten through 2nd grade, my main concern for my kids, or my main goal for my kids, is simply reading, writing, and math. That's it. So basically what I mean by that is I want them solid in reading. I want them to start writing, and that means handwriting, not actually producing like creative stories of their own, but just handwriting and basic math concepts. I want a really strong base in that before I start adding in science or history or any of that other stuff, because that's how they're going to learn for the rest of their lives, through math concepts, reading, and writing. And if that's mastered, then they can worry about learning about other things that can come later. I introduce topics, but like I said, I really focus on reading, writing, and math. So for her, she does have a History Explorer, although I don't know if she'll use it much, and I'm not sure how I will utilize this, but sometimes when the other kids are doing assignments, it's just nice to have one for her to sit down with so she feels part of the crowd. So she got the same one as her brother. This is mainly through grades 1 through 3. And the Good and the Beautiful is really good about, most of her stuff is gonna be coloring stuff. She may have a few instances where she has to write some things, but it's very, very adapted to her grade level. She also has another highlights big workbook. So this is the kindergarten workbook. Again, it's a grade lower than she is, because this is something I want to be easy and fun, so that she will look forward to doing these little worksheets in the time in between I'm working with other kids. I also got her 1 grade lower handwriting workbook. Again, I will be teaching her how I teach handwriting, and I will link that Teachables course below, without curriculum, but I wanted a way for her to practice on her own, which is why it's 1 grade lower than what she is actually in. And so she has this Good and the Beautiful handwriting level K, so she can do that independently. So this year for her language arts is basically phonics. So we will be finishing up our Hooked on Phonics workbooks that we have, and I go back and forth between Hooked on Phonics and Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. This is how I've taught, I want to say, all of my kids to read, and it's been my go-to because I think each of them add their own way of teaching, and mixing them together and doing a hybrid of the two hits on the weak points of one with the strong points of another. So they complement each other very well. For Cora's math, she's gonna be doing Math UC Alpha. This is going to be just the same thing as I talked through you guys before. So in kindergarten, we do primer. In 1st grade, we do alpha. And in 2nd grade, we do beta. So she is 1st grade, so she will be doing the alpha book this year. So as you guys know, for preschoolers, so Cypress is 4. I don't do anything formal, but I did grab a handful of books for him so he could have his own little bin, because sometimes when you're the youngest of 8, you just kind of want to fit in with your older siblings. He is a little bit of like a really kinetic learner or kinetic little boy in general. So I doubt he's going to sit still for very long, but I thought I'd throw some stuff together to just have his own little bin. He has got the doodles and pre-writing from Good and the Beautiful. Do I expect him to sit down and work on this like a workbook? Nope, but I thought it'd be fun to pull out if he was interested in doing some stuff and make it a fun experience to get him used to it. I also pulled out some books. So this is one with the ABCs in it. I've got one with some numbers. We also have the Treasury for Children that has a lot of different children's stories in it that my kids have enjoyed. And I will probably be adding a few more to the pile, but just some books that I can read aloud with them, some little drawing things. I may get him like a little workbook from Walmart, but that kind of stuff for him. I'm not going to do any formal learning with him. His learning will be just to play, have good books read to him, and enjoy his family. Now that said, I do have a separate stack of read aloud books that I have pulled aside for my younger kids. There is a time in our schedule that I'm going to be actually having my 15-year-old, my 10th grader, sit for a few minutes and read to my little kids during their quiet time. And I usually have a time in the morning before everybody gets up that I usually will sit and snuggle and read to the little kids. So I just grabbed a stack of books so that I could have some reading material handy, and I'll go through what I have picked out for that. So this is the Good and the Beautiful book. This is Helen Keller, Into the Light. What Can You Do, Kangaroo? Again, Good and the Beautiful. Waterfalls of the World. Famous Floods. I Sat by the Sea. And then these books, this is not sponsored by any way. I paid my own money for these, but I have been hearing about these Tuttle Twin books for a long time that are supposedly teach personal responsibility and free market and small government. And I thought this was right up my alley. So I bought a bundle. Not only did I buy a bundle, you guys, they had this random crazy sale. Not random, it was 4th of July. So it wasn't random, but it was a huge sale. It was like 75% off. And then as I was checking out, they're like, you can get another set of books for, I mean, it was super cheap. I'm gonna say a second set for like $20 or $30. And I thought, I've got somebody that would love these books. And I actually gave them to a friend of ours. So I got 2 sets of these for a ridiculously cheap price when they had their 4th of July sale. So I've got all of the Tuttle Twins books for, I think these are aimed for the elementary grades, but is The Law, The Miraculous Pencil, The Creature from Jekyll Island, Food Truck Fiasco, Road to Serfdom, The Golden Rule, The Search for Atlas, Spectacular Show Business, The Fate of the Future, The Education Vacation, and Messed Up Market. So I'm excited to read these. These are short little, I want to say they're like 60-page, maybe at the most, books that are picture books that I can read to my kids. So I will let you guys know how I like these, but so far I like the premise of what they are supposed to be teaching. All right, you guys, that was everything. I literally have books covering my floor and my bed and my master bedroom. So I don't have to move those before I sleep tonight. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thanks for sticking around and watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are not already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.